Served 26 years, now he's out here teaching, got no fears. Talking prison reform and making him cheer. Put your hands up high, let me hear you loud and clear. Outlaws to advocates, yeah, that's how we roll. Chasing redemption, yeah, we got that goal. From the darkness to light, we're taking control. From a cell to the studio, we're telling it whole. Got a story to tell, no shame, no blame. Used to be locked up, but now we're changing the game. We're sharing real stories, got Jerry in the booth. Free bird, riding high, dropping nothing but the truth. Cutting through the static, dropping bombastic beats.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Outlaws to advocates. Another shout out for old Jerry at Freebird. So awesome. Great night tonight. We got Robert Picard here. He's doing amazing stuff. I've heard about this dude ever since I've been out of prison. Awesome to have him here. Go ahead and turn the volume up on that, Jesse, because we're not worried about sound quality here. We're good to go. So awesome. But thanks everybody that's here. Thank all you guys for being here. Robert Picard, welcome, man.
What's up? How you doing? So I'm here to talk about resilience. My whole life story is really based around...
Why don't you introduce yourself first?
My bad.
There you go.
I'm Robert Picard. I served 13 years in the Department of Corrections. I'm from North Phoenix. I was in addiction for about 15 years. On the 15th of this month, it'll be 27 months clean and sober.
Woo! 27 months clean and sober?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, brother.
That's fire, man. Good job.
Yeah, it's been a journey. You know, like I said, I was born out here in North Phoenix, Banner Hospital on 55th and Thunderbird. I grew up in a pretty normal family, pretty loving family. Dad's a biker, mom was a pothead, you know, all that good stuff. Everything was really a party on the holidays, birthdays, whatever you could think of. Mom made it something, right? I'm the oldest, I think it's like 11 or 12 kids. So I'm the oldest of that, 8 sisters, and me, Devin, Clint, and Tommy, the brothers. So they really all looked up to me throughout the years and whatnot. At an early age, I got attacked by a dog going to school one day, by a Rottweiler. I didn't really get bit, but it took me out my right knee. I was introduced to opiates at that time, and that's when my journey began. I was living up north in Cottonwood, and we came back down to the valley after that because I started getting in trouble and stuff, and I got expelled from school, you know, and that's what led me into bigger and better opiates, right, the cheaper ones, and that's what took me to my addiction. 21 years old, I caught my first case. I was throughout the valley partying, doing all that fun stuff, I guess you could say, and it led me to my first DUI. I served 2.5 years, and then
You got 2.5 years on a DUI?
No, my bad. The first one was 6 months. I got 2.5 years for possession. I was set up with the undercovers and a couple informants, and it was 2.5 years on that. And then I got page 2 and got that DUI, and it turned it to 2.5 flat that first time. I got out for about 6 months. I left prison with a new addiction to methamphetamines, leaving the heroin behind.
How did that happen? There's no drugs in prisons.
Have you been there? You know, 9 times out of 10, there's more in the prisons than there is out here. You know, it's a pretty easy thing to do. You know, we'll leave that to somebody else to tell that story. But yeah, I left prison with the meth addiction. I was out for about 6 months. I was on a tattooing journey. I learned how to tattoo and draw while I was in. You'll learn art's become a big part of my recovery. And I got out. I was doing house calls, tattooing and stuff, and doing good for a little bit, I guess like a month or two. And then I ended up getting an offer to work in a shop as an apprentice and in my own booth, and then it was on and going from there, you know, full-blown addiction again, methamphetamines, drinking, strip clubs, you know, the whole 9. Didn't really have no focus or direction. Was doing that, and then I caught my next case on Super Bowl Sunday. What was it? 2020, I think. No, it was way sooner than that. I can't remember the year, but it was Super Bowl Sunday, and I went into the precinct again, and I ended up with 2.5 years for 0.8 of meth. I did that little stint. In that time period, I ended up getting involved heavily I caught an assault charge and I ended up at Maury for 3 years. So I would say that was probably some of my darkest times in prison, living at Maury and doing that. I got out from there. I was out for about a year. Ended up living with an uncle out in Sunny Slope, and it was, any means necessary to pay bills, so it didn't really matter. And I was right back into addiction. I ended up to like 160 pounds soaking wet, just like the poster child of addiction, right? That's what I did, and I thought I was just having fun. At that time in my life, I pursued music. I really love music. Music's a big part of my life. It was before prison too. And then I ended up getting in a car wreck, right, about a year out, and they took my blood. This was the third DUI. I thought I was smart, like take my blood, they're gonna take my blood. I sat in county for 2 months, and I was off to the races, right? Thought I was slick. I'm not gonna do any of their field sobriety tests because I couldn't do it, right? That's what I told them, and I took the blood. I was off and running, and then I ended up about a year later, I ended up getting reinstated. It was the 6th time they were going to reinstate me on IPS throughout that time. And I told the judge no. I was sick of it. I was tired. I just couldn't do it no more. At 160 pounds, and you're just going to keep reinstating me. So I told the judge no, like let's revoke this probation. In my mind, I knew I had a 15-year case pending for this DUI, that car accident that I got. And I went back. I went to county for 2 weeks, hit the yard. I was on the yard for about a year. And I think it's important to say this. When I went back in that time, I signed full IHP. That was a turning point in my life. I was done. I didn't give up on anybody. I didn't give up on anything, but I, put my recovery first. That's when I started learning short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, right? Had it in my mind.
How did you learn short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals in prison?
So where I'm getting to with saying that, when I revoked my probation, I went back a year in. I got grand jury indicted, right? And then I sat in county jail for 7 months, 23-hour lockdown. And then finally we came to an agreement. I got 7 years. So when I hit Reining, I hit the yard. I was there. How I started my short-term goals was like, okay, I need a job. Even though I'm in on a DUI, 67% of my check's going to be taken, plus 25% for my gate fee. I still need a job, even though it's going to be like $1.30 every 2 weeks, right? So I started as a line server in the kitchen. I became a kitchen cook. On the weekends we do the pancakes. I was doing.
So you were able to skip the clipper room?
Yeah, skip the clipper room.
You know people then.
Jeez.
You know people.
Yeah, skip the clipper room. I went to a line server, did that for a little bit. Then they moved me to a breakfast cook. And what was it, like 3,500 pancakes every Saturday or Sunday? You guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That kills your hand, huh?
Yeah, the ding, 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 and come back. So there's times I burnt myself. But at that time, I had a buddy, what was his name? Cruz. Yeah, he was a CO3 clerk, and he was getting ready to get out. So the CO3 was like, hey, find somebody that's going to be good at this job, that's not going to be shady, Having that position's a important thing for us because we're working with the staff. So when he approached me, that was the first time I was like, yeah, let's do it. So that short-term goal was start in the kitchen. He said, get that job and then work your way up, and then we'll move you over. So that's what happened. I got that job. I moved my way up. I got over the CO3 clerk, and that's where it broke the stigma of inmate staff. That's one of the first times I ever started speaking to staff in prison, really.
Was it in kitchen?
No, I didn't really talk.
When you got into the
CO3.
Into the CO3?
Into the CO3, Miss Felkins, Miss Diaz now. You know what? Miss Diaz, Mr. Thayer, Payhe, and CO disciplinary Condry, I think that was his name. They treated me like a human. You know what I mean? I was blessed. My grandpa looked out for me when the fundraisers came around because he knew I was doing better. So I would order Sam's Club or Walmart, I'd max out, but then I got hooked up. I'm gonna leave it at that, so I don't, you know what I mean? But they treated me as a human, right?
Yeah, not everything's for everybody, bro.
They really gave me a little bit of insight on what human life was, and that they were humans too, and it broke that stigma. So I did that for about 3 months, and in that time, this is where my peer support journey started. Really, the RSS stuff. It's when they first brought in the programs, and we were doing Thinking for a Change. I was doing it with Thayer, and Thayer knows a story about me that I was telling him about. I ran into a guy that actually killed one of my really good friends.
When you say there, are you talking about staff?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Thayer. He's actually a CO4 now, I think, for Reining. He was a CO3 at the time, programs, doing the programming and whatnot. It was Thinking for a Change, first class I ever did. I went in there, I told my story, and me and him had a conversation about a guy that did some harm to one of my friends that passed away, and I ran into him in county, and it was a turning point in my life also. Instead of doing something I normally would do, I had a conversation with that person, you know, and he's like, well, you want to speak in my class? He goes, you want to tell this story? I said, absolutely not. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, it's sink or swim. I'm a shark. There's minnows in here, and I ain't one of them. Absolutely not. So about 3 months later, I got reclassed, and they're like, hey, you're leaving. I'm like, I'm leaving? Like, where are you going? Like, where are we going? You're getting reclassed. You're going to a 3-yard. So keep in mind, I went from a 2 to a 4. Did a lot of my time on close custody. You know, that's where I did a lot of my time for simple possession charges and DUIs. And I ended up at East Unit, you know, by the grace of God, and some inside help, I guess. So they got me over to East Unit, and that's where art came into play. That's where ASU came into play.
You said art?
Art.
Okay.
Painting.
Okay.
Yeah, painting. ASU came into play.
Tell us about ASU. What do you mean?
So ASU, I did the Inside Out program, criminology, with the ASU, and then I got involved with the incarcerated. We did artwork at the hobby shop. I lived there. If in the mornings I was in the hobby shop, the afternoon I was the guy that worked out at 12 in the afternoon in the middle of the summer. That's what I did. And so if I wasn't in the hobby shop, I was working out, or I was at my rack chilling. But you know, I'll keep it real. Through that time at East Unit, it was rocky. You know what I mean? I was still indulging here and there in my recovery. It was rocky. I wasn't learning much, you know. But I did get into a lot of classes. I graduated the Inside Out program right before COVID hit. That was a cool experience, getting to hang out with the college students and the 10 individuals from the yard, and learning that we're not really that different, you know, from the college students to an inmate. We're really not that different. We just, we're on our own walks of life. So that it really opened my mind, right? I was working in programs, not programs, I was working mail and property. First week there, I was in mail and property. Everybody's like, how'd you do that? Well, I knew a few people at the yard, and they're like, you know,
helps, right?
Yeah, they're like, here.
Let me back up a second here. You said with the ASU program, right? So let's give a shout out to the people that you were working with from ASU, because they do amazing work.
Oh yeah, Kevin Wright,
Absolutely.
the director, right?
Rockstar, yeah.
Rockstar. I got to meet him in person on the yard, and be one of the first 5 for the incarcerated art show last year out here.
Awesome. I think that's the first time I met you.
Yeah, it was. In passing, you didn't really talk to me though, but
Yeah, I was there.
yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
this
yeah,
guy's got
okay,
tattoos
yeah.
on his face. I'm staying away from him.
Stay away. I was bald too, so I looked real hard. But I met Kevin Wright. Stephanie was one of them. There was another male, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name at the time. And the biggest one that's still around, big mentor, Caitlin Matekel. Caitlin Matekel, man.
We have
Shout out to
the
her.
absolute pleasure of working with her from time to time. She works at the same organization we do.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's phenomenal human being. Absolutely
Dude.
phenomenal.
Yeah, she is great. I love her to death. She's really been a staple in my recovery. So I got to do that, the Inside Out. I did mail and property for a little bit, and then the COs changed. You know, the personality changed in mail and property. So I heard we were actually talking about him a little bit ago. My buddy Peter Masinga, he's like, "Hey, we're getting ready to create this mentorship program." I was like, "Oh, really? What's it about?" He goes, "You'd be great for it." And that's where the seed was planted, right? That's where I started learning about my story could be positive instead of negative, and continue what I'm doing. So I was like, all right, cool. Introduce me to the people that were doing it, you know. And so I went on a probation period of I think it was 90 days. So for those 90 days, I tightened up because I really wanted this, right?
So when you say a probation period, there's some kind of accountability with your peers? Like, what's that
Yeah,
look
with
like?
the peers. So it's accountability with the peers. So there's a RSS program in prison, recovery support specialist, which is equivalent to peer support out here.
That's how I got mine.
Exactly. So they didn't want to bring it to East Unit because East Unit was closing. And we created a probation period to get involved. So, you know, clean UAs, all that, to show that like really want to do this. So that's when I started working with resources and stuff and doing that. And then it got to the point where we just noticed staff wasn't really, you know, the deputy warden wasn't really with it. You know, they weren't letting the peer support, the RSS training come when there was a few people that had it. So that's when I first learned about that, and we created that. I actually still have pamphlets and a little packet that we created, like the foundation of it. So I got to be involved in that.
And I want to touch on that because that's important, right? We hear a lot of times in the prisons, you know, DOC don't do this or DOC don't do that. I'm a firm believer it's not DOC's responsibility. It's on us.
Yeah.
But when you got told no for the RSS program, when that didn't work out, you created your own? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
I wouldn't say me personally, but yeah, the population. Yeah,
Yeah,
we,
so you
we
guys
came
came up
together.
with your own.
Yeah, we started. So
I love that,
we
man.
had the little accordion folders, and it said peer support on it, had my name, and that's when I started learning about 211 or sober livings and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So when you say 211 sober living, you're talking about resources for people. when
Resources,
they
yeah,
get out, right?
yeah.
That's
the
awesome. man.
resources that are provided out here that not a lot of us have connection to inside of there, being disconnected.
Know anything about it, right?
Whatsoever. I didn't know anything about it, you know,
Absolutely,
until
that's
that
awesome.
moment. And like, you know, keep in mind again, you know, I'm going to be blatantly honest. My hustle was hooch. You know what I mean?
Same.
So my hustle was hooch, and I was living off that, you know. So I kind of like drifted away from that, knowing East Unit was closing. They took a bus of 70 people. It was chaos. I got moved to another hut. So it was like I transferred over to the floor crew again because I had some experience in that. So I started doing that for a little bit. So that's where it comes to a crucial moment in my recovery. Even though I was a little rocky in that part, my mom passed. February 28th will be 3 years. I kept it cool. You know, I was like,
Sorry about that, man.
I appreciate you. I kept it cool at first. I was like, you know, it's going to be positive. And it came to the point where, well, I hit the bus for La Palma. I was on the bus of the first 60 to La Palma, and we landed over there, and it was on and cracking. It was on, you know, it's just what it was. It started one day.
So what changed for you there? You were doing good at East Unit. You had the
So-
accountability. You're creating peer support programs. You
There
go on
you-
a bus
there
to
you
another
go.
yard, and then your words were, "It's on and cracking." So
You
what-
said it right
what
there,
flipped that switch?
accountability. What is the word? I had a support system. I had lifers. I had friends that were lifers that don't see outside the gate, that are, you know, potentially that are never going to see outside the gate. It's a blessing. Let me shout out, like, it's a blessing. I've seen probably a handful of those guys on the streets right now, right? And it's been amazing to see them. But, you know, I had a support system within that I created of friends that are lifers doing 180 years plus, doing 40 years plus, never coming home, or a guy that's been in there for 45 years and trying to come home. You know what I mean? And I took the time.
Plays the guitar for like Joey Bonamassa, huh?
Oh my
God,
goodness!
there's so
Dude,
much talent in there.
no,
It was amazing.
You know,
Yeah,
the bands and stuff in there too.
it was a
That
privilege,
recording,
man.
I actually floating
privilege.
around somewhere. I got recorded songs on cassette tapes we sent out that we made in there.
Not on cassette tape.
Cassette tapes that we sent out to transfer to MP3. Like, we did that. I think I got a couple on my phone I can show later. But yeah, I had a support system, and believe it or not, it was lifers. You know, that humbleness, that sense of life that was inside the fence. I want to shout out Damian Beck. He's one of the most down-to-earth guys I've ever met. I worked with him in Maryland Property, and he's the one with the 180 years trying to come home. He approached me one time. He's like, "Hey, Unseen Souls." I was like, "What's that?" He goes, "My daughter's nonprofit. I need a painting." I was very new at painting, but here you go. I got to donate to that. I got to donate to abused and battered women in Texas through my buddy Toby. His cousin runs that center, and that was a turning point for my artwork and made me feel good because my piece was auctioned off for the most out of like 6 of us, and the other 5 were way better painters than me. You know what I mean? But it was the joy and the belief and the strength that I gave the woman that wanted to buy it.
When you were doing these paintings, where was that at? La Palma?
No, this was at East Unit in the
So
hobby
this
shop.
was before.
This was, yeah. So I just went back a little bit to give you that support
Right.
system, right, at East Unit. So that's what happened when I went to La Palma. I lost that support system. I still had my family involved, right, But when we went from East Unit, let me keep you posted. Like there was a softball field, the doors don't lock, so I could step outside and look at the stars. So I went from that to like day camp right back to the penitentiary. You know what I mean? 3 rec fields next to each other, the size of tennis courts, if not a little bit bigger. Double spine fences and 120-man pods. I ain't never seen 120-man pod. I'm used to 50 split in half.
Welcome to private prison, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so that, you know, and signing IHP is a good thing. You know, I let go of that politic lifestyle, right? But then again, it's that's one thing I aim for in my life, and what I'll get to in a little bit is those politics being taken away. It's a violent environment again. You know, the youngsters are up and running and not listening to the older crowd, and that structure's gone. That's a crucial thing. But so I got back into that, and just being who I am and my name and the people I was around, you know, a committee was created. And it was like, hey, Bobby, it's you. Like, you don't have a choice pretty much, you know. It's you. So when stuff hits the fan, like, you got to talk. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But, you know, we did that. It was 60 people. We were in a 60-man run, intertwined with the 4 yards that were signed in the loopholes. So that was high tense, you know. And then we moved over to our own pod, and there was 120 people. And, you know, it started 1 day a week, 2 days a week I was using, 3 days a week, and then it was full on 4 months. Full on 4 months. I was sleeping 16-hour days, depressed, going through it. You know, just anything I can get my hands on, I was putting in my body. And then it landed into, it was 8-hour shifts in the kitchen. One day in the kitchen, I went from cooking pancakes to stacking pancakes. Everything was frozen. Everything was frozen. I was stacking pancakes one day, and it felt like the biggest rubber band. When I opened up my arm, on my right arm, it felt like the biggest rubber band hit me in the arm, spun me around and sat me down, full blown in tears, and just like, you know, my chest pumping. And it might have been an anxiety attack. It might have been, you know, just overwhelming. I don't know what it was, but so I left work early. I give my ID to the Miss Johnson, the security guard at Core Civic, the security guards. I give it to her. I said, hey, here's my ID just in case. I'm going to go shower. Ironically, for the foundation you work at, that's the day I got my mentorship certificate that I completed the program.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was
man.
great. That same night. But I go take a shower, and I'm in the shower, and my left arm turns purple. Like I'm watching it go from white to just turning purple, and I go up to my room, I shower. My cellie at the time's like, you good? And I was like, nah. So I walk downstairs, I sit in the chair. One of my buddies was at the top of the stairs, and he's looking at me. He's like, B, you all right? You all right? And I was like, nah. And the next thing you know, I'm on a stretcher and medical. I'm in the back hallway in medical for 45 minutes. And then after that, I remember, I can't remember the guy's name. He even told me to come visit him at the fire department. They put me in the ambulance, and he's like, hey, big guy, we're going to put you in the ambulance because, you know, with me, you, and the pilots, we can't get you on a helicopter. So I went and spent the night in the hospital, swelling of the brain, phantom touches. They said like a mini stroke. So that was a very, very hard relapse, that 4 months. I came back, and then I ended up getting into it with medical, you know, arguing with medical, because I remember what the hospital told me about swelling of the brain, and neurologist, doctor visit I needed, and they're like, nah, none of that, da-da-da. So I think that's what pushed me over the edge, and finally I was like, I was off work. I was just playing, like I didn't want to go to work no more, right? So finally I was like, I'm going to work. So that day I did it on a certain day. I think it was a Wednesday, because staff would come in, leadership, like deputy wardens and stuff. I will never forget him, Deputy Warden Freeland. He's in the kitchen, and I pull him aside, and I was like, hey, man, this is about me right now. I don't care. This ain't about nobody else. This is about me. I'm sober. I can piss clean, but I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. So in the meantime, like before I did that, I've been emailing with the CO3 to get an override, and I was told I'll never get I'll get to a 2-yard again, just because of my background and STGs and gang tags and stuff. And I spoke to him, and I was like, I need to get out of here. Like, I want to do this RSS stuff. I need to be somewhere where it's at, like Globe. You know, that's where I want to go. And
Globe's pretty sweet, by the way.
right, yeah, I got friends up there right now that are coming home soon. So, believe it or not, 3 weeks later, I get a message on the tablet from the CO3, and he's like, hey, your override was granted. I say that because I spoke up. You know, I advocated for myself, and it really like blew my mind. I was told for 3 years, you'll never go to a 2-yard again. You won't. It just won't happen. And I got that. So about 2 weeks later, I roll up, and they're like, hey, you're going to Globe. You're going to Globe. And man, I made it to the motherland. I landed at Fort Grant. I landed at Fort Grant for my last year. So I went to Fort Grant for my last year. I had a little relapse on my mom's birthday. I was thankful enough to be around people I knew, ran into some faces, and we looked at each other like, how are we here? This is not real. Like, how are we here? How will we make it here? And so anyways, I had that little relapse, and I had a crazy thing happen, and somebody pulled up on me, and they're like, hey, da-da-da-da-da, you need to go talk to this person or you're booked. So that relapse, I thought I was slick. I left my TV on. Another turning point, I got snitched on. So instead of pursuing that person, I went and talked to who I needed to, and I became a part of a first step program inside a prison. How about that?
I love that program. Reefer started that.
Yeah,
CFO Reefer.
I
Yeah,
actually got to do 2 Zoom videos to help implement it on 2 different yards.
Yeah, that's
What is that
awesome,
for
man.
people that don't know?
So the first step program in prison is just what it is. It's a 90-day program. You're going to do 6 meetings a week. You were doing CrossFit. I did CrossFit for my size. my knees are so bad. It's wintertime too. I'm barely walking. I need George's walker. But yeah, so I did that, and we had our own little dorm at first, right? We called it the Bird Cage. I think it was dorm 8. So
That's
it was
awesome.
all the little homies and stuff were like, and there's a few of us out here too that are doing amazing. Shout out to them. You know, my boy Icer, he's killing it, man. He's tattooing, he's working in recovery. He was in that program. My buddy Steve, same thing. We all lived in the same house, and they're out here tattooing and doing their thing, and I'm so proud. My buddy Drake just came home. He was a part of that program. He's been home a few weeks, but he's determined.
People say programming in prison doesn't work.
Oh, man, I'm going to blow your mind in a minute. So anyways, I got into that 90-day program, right? And so keep in mind, I told you at East Unit I did programming, right? And then I did more programming at Fort Grant. So a big thing for me, yes, I am actively involved in the 12 steps right now, but it's my first time ever. So a big part of my recovery is prison programming with a good number of 33 certificates when I left prison. 33 certificates of programming, halfway to my associates in sociology in college, construction tech, you name it. Like even parenting classes, I ain't even got no kids, right? Like I got nieces and nephews that are my world, so I had to learn some things. So
That's amazing, man. I absolutely love that.
you know what I mean? I got a folder, like it's thick, and I want to say this too for anybody that's listening, that this might get back to your people on the yard. Those certificates, put them with your resume. If you're going to go for a peer support job, or you're going to try to get a job or get an apartment or whatever you're trying to do, like attach those certificates.
And something else too, a lot of people don't know, those certificates got me out of, I think, all of my community service with probation.
Exactly.
They have some formula for it. I sent them everything I had. Like you, I had a bunch.
Yeah.
And my community service hours got zeroed.
Exactly.
Those certificates got me into my apartment because when I told you I needed to talk to someone,
Yeah.
she's like, it was a long pause, and she's like, show me something you did in prison. And I was like,
Yeah, here
here's
you
a
go.
stack. Yeah.
Yeah.
It advocated for me to get in where
Right.
I'm at.
So I think that's important to clear up that rumor that bounces around those fences right now. Oh, these certificates don't do anything.
Yeah.
I used them. So to lead into that, I wanted to do RSS. So they had the training when I was there. But the thing was, I found out the stipulations. You needed a year and a half or more to get that, so I couldn't do it. So anyways, I did what I could, right? I worked in the rec room, and then I transferred into peer facilitating, and I got certified as a peer facilitator in inmate peer programming. I facilitated classes for that last year, and then I hit that fence. And I'll tell you, for me, first and foremost, for me, that was a spiritual awakening. To hit that, you know how the fence has on tracks, and you got that little metal part, right? I hit that little metal part. I was sitting up. It was gone. Like I don't know how to explain it, but that pressure, that prison stigma, I never looked back, and it was gone. So I came out, I made a commitment.
So you're saying the second you walk out that fence, all
The
that fell
second
off.
we drove that van over that Sallyport little track,
Yeah.
I was in the back seat. I remember it clear as day. 6 o'clock in the morning, we hit that little, doop, doop, and I just exhaled. It was gone.
Man, that's beautiful.
It was gone.
That's absolutely beautiful.
I promise you, that was a big spiritual awakening for me. I've always been a firm believer, right? But that right there, I like to call her my wicked stepmom. But before I got out, she was like, "Just don't look back." I ain't looked back once. Get me
Yeah.
choked up.
No,
real
yeah,
quick.
that's
Get me
good,
choked
brother.
up. real quick.
Beautiful things, man. That's
So,
what it is. Hey, Nate gave a shout out too. He said, "Love you, Bobby." Shout out to everyone.
Shout out everyone.
I've been.
I see you, Nate. I was with Nate on the yard. He's out here in recovery too.
Something I want to put out here too. A friend of mine, Nate's Chris Stewart. Anybody that's listening, kind of, he's missing right now. So we're looking for him. If anybody talks to Chris Stewart, sends a message to him, Facebook him, whatever, we're looking for him. We're trying to get a hold of him. You can find him on Facebook. He's not answering his phone.
There's my uncle Craig right there too.
Nice.
Yeah, you can hit any of us up for Chris Stewart, and I'll extend it too if I hear anything about him for sure, or even just hit me up if whatever he needs. I got the resources to help him out.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
So when I left, I made a commitment to. I'm going to shout out to New Freedom right now. I'm alumni. I made a commitment to New Freedom before it was even open. I was in contact with Denise McDonald. That was my mentor, and she spoke to me even when I was in the worst. And I'll tell you what, she has letters of me being honest of my addiction, right? And I told her, and she just not even coached, she just walked me through it and just was there for me. That made it mean a lot. But when I made that commitment, it was before New Freedom opened. I was like, they're picking me up at the gate. I'm not going home. Because every time I go home, I get complacent, right? I get too comfortable. I go right back to what I know because I can be at home. There's a roof over my head. Nah, they're picking me up at the gate. I went to New Freedom. I think a guy named Abel picked me up. We went into the Circle. Well, I went into Circle K. We pulled up to the gas pump. I was like, well, here we go. It's all or nothing. Keep in mind, I was behind the gate 6 years and a month on this time, right? Doing 7 on the DUI. And I go into Circle K, and I'm grabbing a water, like 2 Gatorades, and I'm shaking. I'm shook. Like, my nerves. I'm like, where am I?
Inexplainable.
Inexplainable. I go up to the counter, and now they got these. You can set the drinks on the weigher, the scale, and it gives you the price. I'm like, what is this? Right? So I like skip that because that was alien to me. skip that. Like, what is?
I'll
this?
go to jail if I use this.
Do I get on this? Like, you know what I mean? I'm a solid 230. Do I get on this? Am I gonna break it? But so I go to the lady at the counter, and I got my visa from prison. There ain't no chip in it. What's a chip? What's a chip? And potentially, you know, in my addiction, I don't even think I knew how to slide a card. You know, I was in and out of prison since I was 21, right? So I never had a bank account. Well, I did, but it didn't last long, right? So it was always wheeling and dealing stuff. So I shoved the card in the little cert to pay, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm trying to pay." Like I said, put the chip in there. Like I was like, "Listen, I just got out." She's like, "Oh, okay, well, hold on, give it to me." And so the lady ran it for me. I got my little pack of cigarettes. I got my little drinks. Get in the car. We go for the cruise. I get to New Freedom. I hit the door, and Trina's there. Denise, they're all there. Trina's like, "Get a picture with your fam," like that. You know how Trina is.
That's so yeah, she's a rock star.
And I get in there, and they're like, "Welcome home," and you know it was awesome, but it was packed. Like everybody's zoom, 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 zoom. You know, we're used to slow motion, slow it down.
Yep.
And everybody's going around. So they take me into the UA. I believe it took me 2 hours to piss. It took me 2 hours. My anxiety and my back's against the wall. They're like, "You good?" I was like, "I'm good, but this is a lot. Like, what's going on right now?" And so you know what? I got lucky. They gave me a little tour, and you know, we went outside for a cigarette, and finally I could produce. That took a little bit. I don't know who it was, but there's certain people I just can't produce in front of. That's like, you know, that was a little bit too much. But so yeah, so I went into that program, and you know, head down in my lane. Met up with Caitlin, talked to the people I needed to talk to. The biggest thing I want to say when you go through a program like that is network. Keep to yourself. Don't use a program like that for Love Island. You ain't offering nothing to a female. The female ain't giving you nothing. Don't sneak in no room. Don't do it. You ain't got nothing to offer. Like, you just come home. You're working on yourself, right? So I kept my head down. I kept my head down. I stayed in my lane. Believe it or not, my buddy Mike, shout out to him. He got out a week before me. He did 13 years straight, and we became roommates. Like that was we got lucky, right? We were roommates, went through class together. His growth, that's for him to tell, but I witnessed it. He would not speak about his story. I witnessed it to the point where me and him were both offered to be in the Navigator and got to send that to the yard. And you know how many times I get hit up from the yard? My picture on there says no days off. That's my little thing, Indio, no days
Nice,
off.
man. I love it.
Going to the yard, and the guys are like, "What?" Like I get calls all the time, like, "Hey man, you're the one," or people coming home, "Hey man, it was because of you. I seen it." But I kept my head down. I used New Freedom as a refresher because we always need to be refreshed. I kept my mouth quiet at first because I didn't want to come in like Joe Know-It-All, because I ain't. I'm not better than nobody else. On my own journey, I'm doing my thing. And the first time I opened my mouth was for a interview, for jobs.
Oh, nice.
In the transformation class. So like Becky at the time, I think it was my teacher. Becky, Lance, rest in peace, Eric. That guy took his shirt off his back for my first interview. I'll never forget that. So I did that mock-up interview with my buddy Mike, and that's the first time I opened my mouth in class, and everybody was like, "What? Like, what's this guy talking to?" Like they're like, "Okay." So people started asking questions and stuff, and that's where I kind of showed a little bit of my growth in those 33 certificates, because I've done it, right? But the refresher is everything, so you can continue to change your mindset and grow. I paid full attention into my IOP classes, never missed a day. Skipped Walmart. I forgot to say that that first week. Oh, there's a Walmart trip, right? Get what you need. I'm not going.
I'm good.
I'm not going. My best advice is if you want to go through that program and succeed, stay there for that 30 days. Stay there for that 30 days and get your footing. That's what it did for me. Gave me my footing. My first time out, I went on a barbecue, welcome home barbecue. Everybody was there, even my mom. They brought her ashes. I got to hold it in pictures. If on my Facebook, you'll see all that. I post victories on my Facebook all the time. It's not boasting or anything. It's just to show the population or our brothers and sisters it's possible from what I came from. So that was my first trip out. I just stayed focused. There was late nights I sat with Eric. He showed me the tricks on how to build a resume. And get this, my resume was prison jobs.
Absolutely,
All
right?
of them.
You can rewrite it.
My first resume was prison jobs. I landed my first job. I did peer support at New Freedom, but I landed my first job at Community Bridges. They hired me a month before I would start, knowing I was there. They said, "Okay, I'll hold." Shout out to Kai Rich. Shit, that's an outlaw advocate if I ever met one. She is amazing. Shout out to her for sure.
We'll have to get her on here.
Oh yes. She did some time. She's doing her thing, and she gave me that chance. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's big stuff, right?
Getting me
That's
choked
big
up,
stuff.
man.
No, because you're talking about the resume thing, and that's a big deal. I went
Yeah.
and spoke at St. Mary's,
Yeah.
and a girl was telling me, she's like, "I have an 8-year gap in my resume."
No, you don't.
I'm like, "Okay, well, why do you have an 8-year gap?" She's like, "Well, I was in prison, but in another country."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, did you have a job while you were in that prison?" She said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, so you were abroad and she sewed.
Yeah.
So you were abroad and you were a seamstress,
Yeah.
right?"
Oh, isn't Jesse doing the knitting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Jesse's definitely doing the knitting.
George is teaching me to knit.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
got rubber.
absolutely.
We got rubber knitters.
By the way, if
whatever
anybody
they're
wants to buy a knitting kit, we have one.
Outlaws to Advocate knitting kits.
called. We gotta wait till we brand them though. But so yeah, she gave me that chance, man. That first call, I think I applied on Indeed, but also a friend of a friend, right? So I had another avenue. I was talking to somebody that worked there, and then I had a friend of hers that she passed it along. And I'm gonna say the biggest thing I learned since I've been out this whole year is the follow through. Your follow through is key. Your follow through is key. So if you're going for something, like, make sure you're making follow-up calls, like, and advocate for yourself. So I continue to, like, hit up my homegirl, Caitlin. Shout out to her, and congratulations on being a new mom and being in recovery. That's a whole nother story. She passed my resume along, and I continued. I was on her helmet, like, hey, did she hit back yet? Did she hit back yet? And I had this conversation with Kai one time, and she goes, yeah, I remember. Like, I know you applied on Indeed, and but also through so and so, right? And I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, you're the guy that wouldn't leave me alone. She goes, so I saw something in you. So she called me. That first conversation, it was like an hour long, and she's like, yeah, you're probably gonna get on. So I waited. You know, keep in mind when you're getting a job, somebody calls. It's gonna take some time for the call back, maybe a week or two. You're gonna feel those feelings, you know, like confusion or being let down. But you know, stay true to the process, because it's a different world out here. So, you know, I waited. I was like, maybe not. You know, my mind starts wandering. I had to catch myself. 2 weeks later, I get that call, and that's when I had my interview. And that's when Eric took his shirt off his back, when right by the pool right there. I was like, man, I don't have a button up. He goes, what? Give me your shirt. Eric it didn't even fit me. It didn't even fit me really. Takes his shirt off, and I put it on, a little button up short sleeve, and he kept my shirt too, so I never got that back. But but it's all
charge
good.
it to the game.
Yeah, charge it to the game. It's all good. But that love that he gave me, like, it showed me that there's amazing people in this world still, right?
Absolutely. And just a little educational tip too. You're talking about the follow-ups after you do the interview.
Anything in life.
Absolutely. A really good tip for after the interview is to send a thank you note.
Yeah, that too.
Hardly anybody does that. You send
Yeah,
that thank you note. You kind of stand out from the crowd. Plus, it's like a free follow-up.
Yeah.
Right. You keep your name out there, and follow through, like you said, is so important, especially in today's society. People do the bare minimum if they show up. Following up, doing those little things, man. It's everything.
I see Joel right here. It says, Eric's so proud of you, bro. He's proud of both of us for sure.
We had Joel on last week, man. He killed it.
Yeah,
He did
that's my
great.
buddy right there. That's a
Joel.
good dude right there. I see my
So-
lady on
So
here too.
what are
Shout
you
out to
doing
her.
now?
Right now, so I had to do some personal growth. I'm officially a case manager at St. Vincent de Paul.
Woohoo!
So keep in mind, in this last year, I've obtained my peer support certification. I'm a certified BHT, and as of October 25th, I have a level 1 fingerprint card. And yes,
Oh,
I'm
that's
on
huge,
parole.
man. Yeah.
I got no violations for the first time ever in my parole. I'm active in the community. Like I said earlier, I'm learning the 12 steps for the first time.
Awesome.
For the first time, right? You keep in mind, I've experienced the 12 steps on God's terms. I'm going to say that because I've experienced the awakening and the higher power. There's something greater than myself. I've experienced that. I'm telling you, like, I have. But I never sat down and learned the 12 steps. So I'm learning them.
That's awesome,
I'm on
man.
the 4th step right now.
Good job.
I'm actively working on it. Yeah, it's taking a little time, but I'm a busy man, but I am taking time to learn it. So yeah, I'm a full-blown case manager for the homeless population. I found a passion in this. I found something bigger than myself. I found something to hold me accountable. I found something to give back to the community, because you know what? This is something I learned throughout prison when they ask you, like, what are negatives or what's something like you did or took. I didn't realize it until I learned this in class. Like, the biggest thing I did was take the population's tax dollars to house me in prison. I don't think a lot of people realize that or talk about that. And it took a lot of money to house me in prison. You know how much money it doesn't take to let me stay out here so they can use those dollars for somebody else that needs it? Like, that was a big turning point, you know, when I learned that. So I get to give back every day. I get to wake up, thankfully, and go work with individuals that need that guidance, that might not have it, that might not have those skills, or just in a hard situation, you know. It's been such a blessing. I've grown so much. I've learned so much, doing things I never thought I would do. Right now, I'm currently building a nonprofit. We're going to keep that under wraps for a little bit. But I've got to meet some amazing people while building this nonprofit. I found myself in front of the mayor. Was it the mayor or the governor? Which one was it?
It was everybody. I know the
everybody.
governor was there too.
Yeah.
The mayor, I
The
think, was
mayor.
actually there as well.
I think it was the mayor, the blonde one.
Yeah.
Mayor, I think so. I shook hands with the Department of Corrections director. What?
He's awesome, ain't he?
Shout out to that guy.
Brian Thornell, yeah,
He's Thornell's bringing it.
yeah,
He's letting it.
he is so forward thinking.
Man.
It's unreal the stuff that the because what was happening wasn't working, right? We proved that over the
wasn't.
last 50
Yeah.
years or whatever it's been, and now the stuff that's going on, Jeremy and I, we go
Yeah.
speak at Coda.
Yeah.
Dang near in a month. Someone speaks there, I think every week or every 2 weeks or something. Whenever they graduate a class,
Yeah.
one of us goes and speaks. We're inside the prisons. We're getting ready to go to a high custody yard at Cimarron, where I spent almost 5 years there.
Yeah.
They approved us to go back in there. It's
amazing.
absolutely phenomenal, man.
Yeah, he's
Cimarron, you never know what they're going to hand out. I think it was like a 2A investigation for murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like they just hand things out over there. You just
Oh yeah, Robert's in here.
Yeah.
Hey man, shout out to Robert. I know his son. I actually was a mentor for his son while we were in, and we got to meet. He was my peer support, and that was a full circle moment right there.
Wonderful.
We got to talk. It's an amazing person in my journey.
So I got to bring something up, man, because it's important. And we talk about community, right? And we talk
Yeah.
about doing the right thing and good things happen.
Yeah.
So when you came over here, you had a little bit of, I don't want to say an issue, but you're living somewhere that's far away.
Man, so my story is real, and I'm gonna keep it real. I won't get too far into it, but just know I'm working a full-time job. My bills are paid. My bills are paid, and it's hard. I've been couch surfing for about a month. Yeah, I had a stable spot, but it's at the point where had to make a decision whether I was gonna stay here, then go here, then go here. I called my sister, and she's like, "Yeah, you can stay with me," and they're out west, far, right? So it's been difficult.
How far?
I drive about an hour and 15 minutes to work in the morning.
Oh, about 2.5 hour commute every day.
Yeah, about 2.5 hours. It just started too. It's new, but it just started. So I spoke up about it, and my man Jeremy right here, God is good.
Why? What happened?
It looks like I'm gonna have an apartment till January to save some money and get where I need to be just because of Jeremy.
Where at?
Out here in Tempe,
Who you living with?
Jeremy.
That's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, like that's
I just want to be of service, man.
Man,
You
that's-
know, I was hearing your struggle, and we're talking about opportunities, and this is what we do, right? Like, what if I don't? That's what I said.
Yeah.
Like, who am I if I don't, right? Like, you know,
right.
why am I in this? You know?
The reason, just so you know, the reason I brought it up in here is just so
Yeah.
now he has to be held accountable and he can't back out of it. So
Yeah, I don't back out of
Everybody got
anything.
that, right? Everybody got that.
I keep my word.
absolutely.
Everybody got that.
That was awesome though,
Yeah.
because it happened before the podcast, right?
Happened
And I made
before.
the joke about, oh, we should have waited till that was on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's so cool to see shit like that in our community. When you're around solid people, when someone can help, they help.
Yeah, that's gonna
100% of the time.
I prefer it to be unseen, but
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
good,
same,
man. It's all
same,
good.
same. There's a true way to present it, right? You know, one of my biggest things with this nonprofit that I'm creating is I see a lot of stigma of clicks in recovery.
Yeah.
I see that, and one of my biggest goals is to break that stigma and actually bring this community together. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, I'm gonna shout out Ian Day and Christian Day right now.
Beautiful
Everlasting
people.
Inc. I got to meet them, and those are beautiful people.
Yeah.
They've been donation box for hoodies of the homeless. Shoot it. You know what I mean? For my nonprofit I'm building right now.
Yeah,
You
they're
got-
definitely two of my favorite people.
they
as
got
well.
a box over there.
Have you done her podcast yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
Listen,
Kristen Day.
Kristen
Get
Day,
Robert
what's
Picard
up?
on there.
I'm the type like I got the blessing to go speak for Jesse's peer support, and we got to chatting, and here I am a couple weeks later.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like to put it out there like I'm gonna let my work speak for itself.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna come to you. Look at me. Like let me get on that. It took a while. I know what it is. People are watching. I'm gonna say it right now and put Drake on blast. I'm watching him. He's like, bro, I want in. I'm watching you, dog. Let's see what you do with it. And if he's watching this or sees this, I just challenged him. And
Absolutely.
I know he's gonna buckle up for the journey. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like the biggest part I want to point out too, even with the struggle that I'm going through, I am holding a full-time job. I am paying my bills, and drugs haven't passed my mind once.
Beautiful,
Well, you
right?
took that breath, man, when you crossed that plane, bro.
Drugs have not passed my
You
mind
had a spiritual
once.
experience.
The reason, like, 'cause Jeremy said that he'd rather just not have, You don't do stuff to be seen, right?
Right.
The reason I bring that up is because if you would have came over here tonight, which you easily could have, said, "Hey, everything's great. I got a great job. Life
Yeah.
is awesome," and we just sugarcoated everything,
Yeah.
you would have walked out here with the same sense of problem.
Communication is
But you
key.
came here and said, "Hey, man, I'm struggling with this, struggling with that," and the only way people can get that help or get that support or have someone walk
Speaking
with them,
up.
Just come to Outlaws and Advocates.
yeah, come out, now. We'll house you.
We have 13 of them.
Well, even beyond that, though, it's how important the people that you have in your life are. Because if you have positive people in your life, they're going to add value and they're going to be there to lift you up when you're struggling. Because at the end of the day, we spend all of our time filling up other people's cups, but there's times when we need our cup filled as well.
Yeah.
You know, when you have positive people in your life, we can all help each other. That's what the
Yeah.
support group's all about, you know.
Man, that opportunity is going to put me somewhere because I'm going to throw this out. March 5th, I'm done. Parole's done.
Oh,
Interlock's done. Man, I forgot this. I didn't have a license for 13 years. I started throwing darts at a dartboard. I learned how to use the azmvdnow.com or .org and figured out how to look at my compliance issues, and I just started hitting the dartbout.
Absolutely.
George
it.
helped me figure my stuff out in prison, the Second
Do
Chance
it.
program.
Hey, I
He's like,
wanna-
let's get on MVD now.
There was a no holds. It was a beyond the Hope Beyond the Walls conference. It was on a Saturday.
Shout
And I
out
was
to my
just-
little sister, Tony.
I was just walking through the parking lot when it was over, and these two guys were walking next to us, and they're talking, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I'm Judge Don Taylor." I'm like, I would have thought he would have been a dude we talked to on the yard, man. And he was the one who implemented the CAP program in 2015.
You're like,
change.
yeah, you put me away for 12 years.
Yeah.
Hey,
But change the face.
my Aunt Wendy right now watching the podcast. You're awesome. Love you, Bobby. I'm so proud
Change
of
the
you.
face
Awesome.
of
Thank
the
you.
Aunt Wendy, what's up?
Aunt Wendy, what's
Hi, Aunt
up?
Wendy.
Aunt Wendy. Shout out to her too. She's been a big support. It's been a journey, man. What I'm noticing in this conversation is the biggest thing I keep coming to is speaking up. Speaking up. If I wouldn't have spoke up about my story and my vulnerability, keep in mind that's my biggest tool.
Joel, send me a message. Televerde is taking on Hickman's for a reentry program. Male mentors needed. There you go. You got some more work.
There you go, Joel. Shout out to Joel too. I got to meet Joel a couple times and listen to his story, and that's inspiring in itself. Yeah, speaking up, man, and telling your story, vulnerability is all right. It's not all right. It's amazing. We were taught not to, right? Where we come from, we were taught not to, and you know, I've been able to break that stigma and use my vulnerability to the point where I can tell my story full-heartedly and be good with it, because I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't care what anybody has to say about me, because 9 times out of 10, it's something good, because I'll go in a room, God on my mind. I'll go in a room, God on my back. Saying that, I got the armor on. Like that, I believe it. I believe it. And
When you put out pure, you get pure back.
yeah, it's what you give. You
You might
get
have
it
a
back.
little bit of noise here and there, but when it comes up, it's so easy for me. It's so easy to dismiss because I don't care about that. I
Yeah.
don't focus on that. I'm here doing stuff like this. And like you talk about vulnerability. A few weeks ago, I had made a joke to Jesse about buying. We always joke about who's buying Taco Boys and buying dinner and all that stuff.
Taco Boy, shout out. Fire. The
Fire.
quesadilla. Oh, my.
Actually, yeah, Jesse's buying tonight, so that's a good thing. But I made a joke to Jesse about buying lunch. I was like, well, if you're coming, man, you're buying. And then I thought about it afterwards, and I was like, man, if I was struggling and didn't have a couple of dollars, I never would have been able to that joke. Like, if I actually needed Jesse to buy me lunch,
Yep.
I would have struggled with saying it.
Yeah.
And the people that need it the most, that's when it's the hardest to ask.
Yeah.
Get comfortable with that vulnerability.
Speak up.
Let people know when you need some help. I had a guy at parole.
Yeah.
They just walk out, after the parole orientation. There's 50 people in there to help. There's 40 people in their chairs. There's literally more volunteers, more advocates in that room sometimes than there are people who came home.
Yeah.
And at the end, they just get up and walk out.
Yeah.
You don't need anything? Fresh out of prison?
You gotta open up.
I don't even have a pair of socks.
That was the best thing. I still
Yeah.
wear some of the stuff New Freedom gave me.
I'm saying.
Straight up in my I think I wore a pair when I went to Flagstaff this week in a pair of joggers.
Oh, Drake just chimed in. What's up, Drake?
Drake, what up, Drake? Yeah, you're gonna have to rewatch this, buddy. Challenge. Hey, I want to
Yeah.
say, I want to rewind a little bit. Remember when I said when you go into a program and it's not Love Island? I say that because you really don't have anything to offer somebody, right? When you're coming out of prison, whether it's a female or male. Let's fast forward a little bit. you know, it's truly a blessing when you put the work in, right? God's going to work in your life. God has brought the most amazing blessing to me. I've never had a relationship in my life like I have right now. My lady, shout out to her, Kat.
Yeah, buddy. That's it right there.
Yeah.
She's going on 5 years, clean and sober. My best friend. She's patient. She's supportive. The loyalty, like, take the time to work on yourself because God's gonna work in your life in ways you never believe. And I say that because this woman is, dude, I couldn't even tell you. Like, I'm not perfect, right? But she's taught me patience. You know, she's taught me how to. I've resorted in ways of being immature, but been able to take a step back because I watch and see how she processes things. And I'm able to talk and we're able to walk, and the commitment is just, you know, I just want to shout that out. Like, that's amazing to me. You know, that's a big part of my recovery right now, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Because you were ready for it, right?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Well, and it's amazing the people we attract when we're conducting ourselves with integrity.
Yeah, exactly. She's heavy in the recovery world. We met a few times, and then when we finally met, dude, we've been together since we met. Like, since the day we hung out.
Yeah.
and it's been, bro, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, babe, for putting you on blast, but it is what it is. I hope you know it.
All the business comes
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah, you know, I just want to say that, like, when the time's right, like, take the time. I've learned patience, you know, respecting the process and getting where you need to be. It's not going to happen overnight because when we do those shortcuts, you know, you're going to go see, I think it's Watkins now. I ain't trying to see the new jail. And last time I saw that, they were building the foundation. I was on a page 2, you know. I'm not trying to go see it built.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not trying to see it firsthand either.
I remember I
Not
was in
trying to see it
county
all.
with the dude that he was like, man, 2 weeks ago I was doing the concrete right over there.
Oh, look at that, brother.
Yeah, I see. I got the little
Yeah,
happy face.
she gave you a little happy face.
You look
Yeah.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
But
What's
I
up,
want to
Kat?
I want to
Yeah.
shout out to Jacob Staubert. Anybody remember that name?
Yeah, I know Jacob. I was on the yard with him.
Jacob's in Utah building a jail right now.
Good for
How do you feel about that, Jacob? You're gonna watch this.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. He's off papers. That's my guy.
Yeah, I know Jacob well.
That's my guy, man. He's off papers. He's welding. He's doing it. I talk to him daily.
Is he welding a drinking fountain to a toilet?
Probably. I think those come like that.
Yeah, they're prefab for sure.
Nah, I get
Prefab.
videos and I see what he's doing, and
Yeah,
it just blows
yeah.
my mind. He's welding and doing. I think he's in California, coming back for the weekend, going to Utah. Got his company truck, got a bank account, doing it.
Yeah.
And I've been side by side since we got out of New Freedom with him, and I worked with him CBI for a little bit, and then he went off to welding, and I went on my journey to learn, but that's one of my best friends. You know, he's killing it.
That's absolutely phenomenal. We're getting into our last few minutes here.
Yeah.
So we'll get into some final thoughts. What do you want to leave everybody with?
I just want to say, take the time to understand what you want in life and to know the difference, what's right from wrong, and abide by the rules. That's the structure, right? That's the development of not only our society, but who we are within. You know, that's what creates that resilience in a man or woman to overcome in any obstacle or adversity you have in life. Because the best part about it is we're built for this. We really are.
100%.
And recovery this last year, I got out September 8th, 2023. So it's just over a year. This has been the best time of my life. And I've been working 12-hour shifts, 5 days a week, finally got a 9 to 5, and that right there makes me happy. So take the time to understand what you're aiming for, because when you aim at nothing, you're going to hit nothing. Absolutely. So stay focused, stay dedicated. When you put your recovery first, that's when you can start loving everything else around you. You know what I mean? So wake up in the morning, rise and grind. You see, if you're on my Facebook, you see it. Rise and grind. I do it all the time. I post it.
it.
I know my posts can be outlandish and come a lot and thick, but it's for you guys. It's for the community. I like to show what's going on because you need it. We all need it. You know, I watch you guys. You guys are doing amazing. I hope there's a back seat somewhere for one of these trips when I can go. You know what I'm saying?
You already know.
And I just want to thank George, Jesse, and Jeremy. You guys are killing it. I seen George come right out and go right back in. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm proud of you. I seen Jesse pop out, become a peer support. That was a great experience to speak at. Jeremy, I know we met in passing, but God brought us here tonight. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. That means the world to me.
Yeah.
You know, and just stay focused, stay dedicated. No days off. Let's get to it.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
You know
Awesome.
what I
Thank
mean?
you, bro.
Thank you.
What about you, Jeremy? Where are you at with all this?
No, I you know, thank you for coming on. It was a great story. Hey, man, I'm sorry that you've been struggling for the last month. Thank you for speaking up and being vulnerable, and let's see what we can do to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Awesome, man. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I got something real quick. You know, everybody here at this table changed their lives in prison. You know, and for me, my aha moment was when I realized that there was no honorable in living dishonorably. And the thing is, when I started trying my best to add value to the lives of the people that I came across and started to associate myself with people that are going to add value to my life started getting better. It's important who you surround yourself with. So please, if you're out there struggling, try to find people that are going to add value to your life. It matters.
Yeah, hit me
Absolutely.
up. Hit me up. If you need some guidance, listen, I'm not a sponsor.
What's your phone number?
602-503-6882. Mike Jones. No, I'm just kidding. That's the number. Or hit me up on Facebook. I'm not a sponsor, but I am a mentor.
Absolutely.
That's important to say because I am learning the 12 steps myself. But once I got them down, I'll be shifting gears.
We can support in any way possible, right?
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
seen Kristen on here from the Sunrise program. She's out there. She got
Yes.
out just before I did. She's phenomenal. One of my best friends. We're speaking tomorrow at a panel at ASU. Super excited about that.
Real quick, I want to shout out Clinton Wade Nelson. That's my little brother.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think he's been clean over 5 years.
that's awesome.
Right on.
Single father, killing
Awesome.
it. He's doing it. 50-pound catfish the other week.
Woo,
Nice.
baby.
Bigger than him.
Nice.
Jeremy just went fishing the other day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out
it's
to
been-
Clint, man.
that this morning?
He's in recovery
No, that
doing
was
his
yesterday.
thing.
Yeah. Love fishing.
Jacob Everett, know him. Okay, I'll stop. My
I'm
bad.
sober fishermen, man. They're my people.
There we go.
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody for watching tonight, for hanging out, for spreading the love. Every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Outlaws to Advocates. Please come back next time. Next time, invite a friend. Let's double up these numbers. We love all you guys. You got one phone number. You got another coming from me, 480-527-6326. No matter what you're going through, you're never alone. There's plenty of support, plenty of people out here to help. We love all of you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Love you guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you.